Welcome back. Defense technology giant L3Harris announcing a first-of-its-kind partnership with the Department of War, aiming to rapidly expand U.S. missile production capacity. The deal includes a proposed $1 billion investment from the Department of War, with plans to take L3Harris Missile Solutions business public in the second half of the year. The stock is up better than 60% over the last year as demand for critical defense systems surges. Joining me now is L3Harris Technologies Chairman and CEO, Christopher Kubasik. Also with us is Undersecretary of War for Acquisition and Sustainment, Michael Duffey. Gentlemen, great to have you this morning. Thank you so much for being here. And Christopher, let me kick it off with you. Congratulations on this big investment. To have the Department of War as an anchor investor in this to take public later in the year. Tell us about this partnership. What's most important for us to understand?
Absolutely. Good morning, Maria, and thanks for having me back on the show. And good morning, Secretary Duffey. Look, this is a great day for America. I want to start by thanking President Trump for his leadership. He has been clear that the safety and security of our nation and our citizens is a top priority. The Department of War has been clear that they need the defense industrial base to increase capacity, in effect, peace through industrial strength. And I've been clear that L3Harris is a national security company. So 3 years ago, instead of buying back our stock, I bought Aerojet Rocketdyne for $5 billion. We immediately tripled the capital and have spent and will continue to spend billions of dollars to increase U.S. manufacturing jobs and factories. In fact, we are constructing 60 different factories throughout Arkansas, Alabama, and Virginia to meet this need. We're excited to have the Department of War as our anchor investor.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is very exciting. And Secretary Duffey, I want to get your take on this because I've been hearing for so long that we just can't make our arms and we can't make munitions fast enough to actually keep up. How did we get there, and how significant is what L3Harris is doing in terms of more supply of these weapons?
Good morning, Maria. Thank you for having me on today. Well, thanks to President Trump's leadership, not only in pursuing peace through strength, but in mandating that we rebuild the military and the industrial base and really change how things are done here at the department. This presents a great opportunity to invest and partner with industry to create growth in and speed and volume in our munitions industrial base, a key component of that strength that's required for peace through strength. Really empowers us all to meet that demand. When you look at the fact that we've, through President Trump's leadership, we've created a Golden Dome. We have recent operations, all creating the need for additional capacity within our industrial base to meet that exploding demand. And this deal here creates that opportunity for us to continue that growth.
So, Chris, what are you going to do with the money once you take this public? What are the plans in terms of this IPO?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, there's a lot of different ways to raise capital to make these investments. We thought accessing the public markets was the best way and the best alternative for us and our L3Harris shareholders. So as we've already started spending money, the billions of dollars that we raised through the IPO will be part of our Missile Solutions company, a brand new public company, majority owned, controlled by L3Harris, and this will be used to expand the facilities and factories that I spoke about. Better use of robotics, automation, software, digital engineering, all these initiatives which we've already put in place but will continue to put in place will position us well. And Maria, as I think about it, I mean, this really starts the deconsolidation of the defense industrial base, in effect reversing the Last Supper from 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's a great analogy. We talked about this. Gentlemen, stay right there. Hold on. J.P. Morgan earnings are crossing the tape, and we want to bring the audience our breaking news right now. Cheryl Casoni with the details on J.P. Morgan. Cheryl.
We do have a double beat on J.P. Morgan. Earnings per share coming in at $5.23. The street was looking for an even $5 on earnings per share. We came in at $46.77 billion on revenue, managed revenue. The street was looking for $46.2 billion. So that is a beat. There is a one-time profit was affected by by this one-time charge on the Apple Card takeover that the bank did. We were looking for that. The comments are also coming out. While labor markets have softened, conditions do not appear to be worsening. Talking about the jobs picture, the economy has remained resilient. Consumers continue to spend. Businesses generally remain healthy. These results include, again, that credit reserve for the Apple Card that I mentioned there as well. Assets under management jumping 18%. Non-interest revenue, $21.7 billion. We're looking at deal making here. The company is talking about, obviously, the IPO pipeline deal making, and of course, deregulation is a big theme for this report. Maria, I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, I mean, the deal making has been clear. That is certainly one of the drivers of all these major banks with big investment banking portfolios. JP Morgan among the biggest and the leaders. We're talking with Chris Kubasik and Secretary Duffey. And Secretary, I want to get your take on the needs out there in terms of what we're talking about. President Trump has made supply chains in America a priority, partly because of the military, that we need so much more made. Is it largely missiles, Tomahawk missiles? Without giving away any secrets, what can you tell us in terms of this demand as the world has changed? You've got adversaries on the march, and what the U.S. needs right now with regard to supply chains?
Well, our needs are really across the board. Munitions is a starting place because we saw that as the greatest need for growth. Last week we announced a deal with Lockheed Martin where they agreed to make the investment of expansion of their factory space and tooling and all the required investments to triple their production capacity. That creates the demand signal that really makes this deal with Chris and L3 work. With President Trump's leadership, absolutely manufacturing is a priority for us. Growing that industrial base and being self-reliant on our ability to supply munitions, systems, weapons across the board is going to be fundamental to achieving President Trump's peace through strength.
But Christopher, I mean, look, the Department of War is now investing in this project and in the company. Do you worry that government is going to have too strong of a hand in L3 Harris? I mean, look, the president said that he's going to block defense contractors from doing buybacks, from paying dividends. How are shareholders feeling about that? And what do you want to tell shareholders who might be questioning a government stake in a public company?
Yeah, great question. Absolutely not. It is an economic investment. They will not have anything to do with the board of directors. We'll have an independent board, members of which nobody from the Department of War will be associated with. We run the company. They will not be involved in the management or the governance of this company. As an economic investment, Secretary Duffey can confirm that. And they will participate in the initial public offering like the rest of our shareholders. I think the L3 Harris shareholders, which we'll be talking to later and throughout the day, will be excited. This creates a brand new mid-cap, solely focused company on missile solutions, high growth, mid-teens for the foreseeable future, good margins, good cash flow. I think it's going to be good for our shareholders. It's going to be good for the new missile solution shareholders. And like I said, I think it starts the deconsolidation of the defense industrial base, gives Secretary Duffey and his team more competition, and that's good for the country. And it's good for the industrial base.
I know you're also selling a majority stake in the space unit as well, which is really interesting at a time that space is increasingly important from a national security perspective. Secretary, you want to add to that in any way in terms of shareholders questioning how this is going to play out with government owning a stake in L3 Harris with this investment?
And Maria, Chris has got this right. Our interest in this deal is getting a good return for the taxpayer and stimulating the growth that's required in order for our defense industrial base to meet the future needs of the nation. And we don't have an interest in running the company. We have an interest in making sure that when we make an investment in a company like we are doing here, there's a return for the taxpayer, not only in the speed and volume that's required in order for us to boost our production capacity, but also that the the taxpayer benefits. Last administration would give out grants of money to industry with no hope or promise of a return on that investment. This guarantees not only that growth, but that return on investment that the president has mandated that we at the department prioritize when we're working to rebuild the military.
Gentlemen, this is such an important story and an important partnership. We so appreciate you talking with us about it this morning. Thank you, sirs. Christopher Kubasik and Michael Duffey, thank you so much. We'll be right back. Stay with us.